For most people, a major medical event is a fragmented logistical nightmare. You visit an independent clinic for a diagnosis, travel to a separate lab for blood work, head to a hospital for a procedure, and finally stop at a retail pharmacy for your medication. Each step of the way, your data and your wallet are handed off to a completely different company. The financial problem with this model is that these businesses are built on isolated, one-off transactions. Because they don't share a unified system, they have to constantly spend money on marketing and discounts just to convince that exact same patient to walk back through their doors the next time they get sick. In the industry, this marketing expense is called customer acquisition cost, or CAC. Standalone digital health startups often burn through capital trying to lock in users with steep discounts, hoping they stick around long enough to eventually turn a profit. Apollo Hospitals took a different route. Back in 1983, they started as a single 150-bed hospital in Chennai. Over the next 40 years, they built the infrastructure required to connect every piece of the patient journey. This summary box from an investment memo details the scale of their modern ecosystem. You can see their presence across 73 physical hospitals, over 6,900 retail pharmacy stores, and a digital platform with more than 7.3 million users. By integrating physical care, retail distribution, and digital access, Apollo manages the healthcare value chain from diagnosis to daily wellness. The engine driving this ecosystem starts at the hospital. By focusing on specialized treatments like oncology, neurology, and cardiac surgery, Apollo captures high-value medical events. This drives up their average revenue per occupied bed, which is the daily amount generated by an admitted patient. But the monetization doesn't stop when the patient is discharged. Apollo's immediate post-discharge strategy captures the 3,000 to 5,000 rupees the average patient spends on recovery pharmaceuticals before they even leave the building. This retail pharmacy network functions as a massive, highly efficient back-end operation. It is designed to capture recurring retail spend long after the surgical wounds have healed. To supply a network of this size, Apollo integrated a distribution business called KeyMat. KeyMat operates 96 distribution centers that supply pharmaceuticals to over 60,000 stores nationwide, bypassing third-party logistics margins. Bringing this supply chain in-house reduces distribution costs. As the network scales, the fixed costs remain relatively flat while revenue grows, allowing for a steady expansion of Apollo's operating profit margins. The physical infrastructure creates a specific loop. Apollo secures the high-value surgical patient in their hospital and then immediately catches their recurring medication spend in the pharmacy downstairs. To maintain that patient relationship, discharged patients are encouraged to use the Apollo app. A one-off physical hospital visit is transformed into continuous, pocket-sized access to Apollo's medical staff. Looking at the Apollo 24/7 app interface, you can see the frictionless return loop. Users can book 15-minute teleconsults, order 2-hour medicine delivery, and schedule diagnostic lab tests directly through their phones. Because these patients are acquired through in-person hospital and pharmacy visits, the app doesn't have to buy expensive online ads to find them. This leads to acquisition costs drastically lower than standalone digital health players. This structural advantage allowed management to execute a strategic pivot. They stopped chasing cash-burning growth metrics and shifted focus toward generating profitable, organic revenue from users already inside their system. Once that digital trust is established, Apollo can introduce a high-margin cross-sell, health insurance. They leverage their database of registered users to sell insurance policies directly without the need for an external sales force. By digitizing the time between major medical events, Apollo maximizes the lifetime value of every patient without spending standard marketing dollars. Physical care, retail distribution, and digital tracking now operate as a single machine. A patient acquired at the pharmacy downloads the app, uses the app to book a lab test, and is eventually routed back to an Apollo hospital for surgery. This text block from an investment memo regarding the Cloud9 maternity hospital acquisition serves as a case study in how this network can scale. The memo details the plug-and-play economics of the deal. By dropping a specialized brand like Cloud9 into Apollo's existing real estate footprint, digital acquisition funnel, and discharge referral network, Apollo projects they can double Cloud9's revenue in 5 years. Standard hospitals are often bottlenecked by physical construction. They have to build and fill more beds to grow their revenue. Apollo's growth is increasingly tied to these network effects rather than just building new facilities. Apollo engineered a closed-loop ecosystem to monetize the life cycle of human health, from a digital symptom check to a major surgery, and every prescription in between. Physical care, retail distribution, and digital tracking now operate as a single machine. A patient acquired at the pharmacy downloads the app, uses the app to book a lab test, and is eventually routed back to an Apollo hospital for surgery. This investment memo regarding the Cloud9 maternity acquisition serves as a case study in network scaling. By dropping a specialized brand like Cloud9 into Apollo's existing real estate, digital funnel, and discharge network, they project doubling its revenue in 5 years. Standard hospitals are often bottlenecked by physical construction. They have to build and fill more beds to grow their revenue. Apollo's growth is increasingly tied to these network effects, rather than just building new facilities. Apollo engineered a closed-loop ecosystem to monetize the life cycle of human health, from a digital symptom check to a major surgery, and every prescription in between.